Hey, it's me, Tim, and I'm really happy to show you something I've been working on that I'm super excited to be adding to the New Perspectives music store. Oh, cables. Let me tell you what I'm doing and why. The whole idea behind this business was to offer a new perspective to the way that we shop for musical equipment and accessories and stuff. And of course I started with guitars because that's the most important thing to me and will always be the main sort of impetus of my business, making guitars and bass guitars. But I like to have some of these other things available as options too for people that just like me don't really want to shop at the big stores. Now custom cables is definitely a thing, and there's a lot of custom cable companies out there. Some of them are great. I think most of them are a little bit overpriced, and so I wanted to see if I could do something that was a bit more affordable and also a little bit more customizable. It's one of the joys of being a small shop like mine and really not advertising much beyond you, is that I can really have really personalized, hands-on type of connections. You know, connections. If you've ever gone down the cable rabbit hole, there are lots of twists and turns and lots of pretty colors, but really what it comes down to is that there are two brands that always rise to the top, and they're both made in Japan. One is Mogami and one is Kanari. I use this Mogami thin gauge stuff for some of my stuff like my upright bass pickup cables and other things, but I went with Kanari partly because it does seem to test a little bit better for more like live ruggedness, you know, and also because it came in this green color that's kind of like my signature green. Here you can see I marked off just some quick measurements on my workbench, so I wouldn't need a ruler or a tape measure to go ahead and measure this cable. And so, as we'll talk about later, I'm making all sorts of different sizes, and I can just use this gauge to simply measure out exactly how much I need for each particular cable length. If this wing of my business really takes off and I find myself doing this a lot, I'll drill a little hole in my workbench so I can drop a pole in there and put the spool on that, and that way I can just pull. And when it comes to connectors, it really comes down to two different brands. There's Switchcraft and Neutrik, and I chose Neutrik. I thought that they had a few better options that I thought looked better and seemed more durable for the product that I want to make. Credit where credit is due, I got this WEP soldering system from the company. They asked if they could send me one to use in videos, and I said if it's good, I will. And I've had the thing for years, and it's great, and I do. Soldering cable connectors is actually a really easy job. Anybody can do it with a soldering iron and a little bit of patience. You just simply have to strip the wire back and take some of the copper shielding to one side, maybe twist that into a little pike, and then there's a center channel of the cable that is the positive, that goes to the positive lead. Negative obviously goes to the negative/ground side of it. And you can see here I'm using, this is one of my blender boxes I make for my double bass pickups. This is one of the prototypes. And I just put two jacks in there that I use to hold the cables in place as I assemble them. It made life a little bit easier. Later on I ended up actually clamping it down on my bench, and if I make more of these I might actually modify that to work a little better for me. So how are my custom handmade cables any different than the other custom handmade cables out there that use the same brand wire and the same brand ends as mine? They're not, except mine are green for now, and also I wanted to offer this service. So if you go to the cable page at newperspectivesmusic.com, you'll see you can choose your length cable from anywhere from 3 feet to 25 feet, and if anything is different outside of that you want to do, you can contact me and we can work it out. And I will be stocking some of the basic sizes like 10 foot, 12 foot, 20 foot, and everything else. They might be in stock, they might not. If they're not in stock, just order it anyways. It'll come up as a back order, and within 3 to 5 days I'll have it made and shipped to you. Some of you might think it's kind of dumb to offer 9-foot cables when people could just buy 10-foot cables and just deal with it, because what's the difference? But I can see a lot of practical applications for this. I know when I used to play the double bass for a living, I had my pedal board, I had my amp, I had my bass, and we always set them up in the same spot. And you know what else I had? I had a million other wires on the stage. And so I would want to have the cables just the length that I needed for these specific distances from my amp to my pedal board to me. And guess what? They didn't make those cables, so I would always have extra cable. And now you times that by everything else on the stage. Next thing you know, you have hundreds of feet of extra cable that if you were making them to length, you could solve for that problem. And another thing you might want to choose is sometimes just these two straight ends, which are a little bit less expensive, are all you need. But for some instruments, you really want that 90-degree angle piece that goes into your guitar or into a pedal or something. So not only when you're designing your cable do you get to choose the length, you get to choose the ends. And for now, you only get to choose one color. But if this takes off, I'll add more colors to it. Why did I choose green besides the fact that it matches the trim around my shop. I chose green because this is a trick I learned from a sound guy a long time ago. I noticed when he was setting up all these hundreds of cables that there were two that didn't match. There were two different colored cables on the stage. One went to the kick drum mic and one went to the bass amp. And so I asked him about that. Why do you have these two cables? He said, if something goes wrong, these are the only two I'm really concerned about. Everything else got enough stage volume. So I like to be able to find those easy. Don't you want to know where your line is? Perhaps the most debated concept in all of musicianship ever, especially in the world of guitar, is tone wood. And the second is the proper way to wrap a cable. Let me show you how I do it. So there's all sorts of theories and stuff about how you can make your cable, unroll faster and do backwards, forwards, flips and things. But the most important thing to me is to maintain the integrity of the cable, which you can see here I am not. I just picked this thing up randomly and I'm showing you how it doesn't want to be. I could force it into submission, but that's going to start to wreck the cable. So instead what I'm going to do is let the cable tell me where it wants to go. And you can see if I just hold on to one end and pick it up, you can see the loop just form. If I go too far, the loop starts to look weird. If I go too short, it kind of forces it a little bit, and I could feel it in my hand sort of twist. So just pick it up. Doesn't want to go like that. It needs just a little bit of a spin. There it goes. Wants to go like that. And now you can see the cord is telling me. I'm just giving it a little twist each time instead of forcing it. And now we have a perfectly wrapped cable, ready to go back in the case and last forever. And now not every cable is going to be exactly the same too. Like you can see here, these cables want to be in different loops, and that's partly because of the length of them, but it's also because of where they came off the spool. This was on the outside of the spool where it was made and wrapped wider than it was here. That's it. And of course, always pull the plug out from here, never from here. And while I'm making cables, I figured I should do something for pedal boards too, because there's like this kind that are crap, and then there's this kind that are too clunky, and so I thought I would make a couple different sizes of pedals with these nice super flat pancake 1/4" connectors, so you can really get these things close together on your pedal board for people that have pedal board addictions. Not me. And I'm making them in a couple different lengths, 6-inch, 12-inch, and 18 inches, and that's a separate listing. You can buy them individually or in 3-packs. The patch cables are made the same way. I'm just using my self-healing board as a measuring tool for these, and the pancake connectors are also the same type of soldering situation, but they're a little bit different because they're tighter, so you have to just be a little bit more careful to make sure nothing's touching when you put that metal cap on the back of it. And every cable gets plugged into my little shop amp that's sitting next to me to make sure nothing weird happens. Another big part of my channel is sustainability and using reclaimed materials, and so of course I had to throw in a little bit of reclaimed in the packaging, and I'm using my my favorite material, cereal boxes, to make the little tags. I'm also putting a hook and loop fastener on each cable, and I kind of personally tend to take these off, but some people really like them, and I want to just make that option available too. This is a DIY channel, which is why I'm showing you how I'm making these cables, and I'm sure if you watch, you're thinking to yourself, hey, I could totally do that. Absolutely, you can do it. There's no secret mystery to making these cables. It is really as simple as it looks. The only thing you have to do is go out and have the tool and buy the material. And that might not make financial sense for some of you. If you already have a workshop and you buy this, you need bulk quantities of cables, then it might make more sense for you to just make your own. Just watch this video and do it yourself. But if you don't want to do that and you don't want to buy it in bulk, you can just get one from me. I already bought it in bulk. And honestly, if you are an amateur or on a budget or a beginner, you just play at home, you probably don't need a cable like this. The inexpensive ones that you can get that are made overseas are probably going to be just fine for you. It's when you start gigging a lot and putting a lot of wear and tear on cables and playing in loud and complicated environments electronically is where you really start seeing the benefit of some of these higher quality cables and the shielding properties and the sound reproduction qualities that they can offer you. But yeah, playing in your bedroom through your little practice amp, I mean, it might sound a little better, but you'll probably be fine with what you got. So there's another example of me being the world's worst salesman. Come and buy my cables, or not, or make them yourself. All right. But seriously, I am happy to offer the service for the people that might want it. And you can go check it out over at newperspectivesmusic.com. Thank you very much.